Hey guys, it's Bench175 and I wanted to make a comprehensive video on the best first handgun or pistol. I've been planning to make this video for a while now, so I think I now have the best first handgun depending on your needs. So before I get into it, I'll just give you the bottom line up front. If you're a brand new shooter or have any anxiety about shooting, then get this one right here. This is a Smith Wesson 380 Shield Easy. But if you're pretty confident about your hand grip strength and you don't flinch around loud noises, I would go with this one, which is a CZ P10F. A lot of people would simply recommend a Glock 19 that I have over here, but I'm not going to, and I'll explain why later in the video. Okay, so recently on a gun forum I visit, someone asked the same question about the best first handgun, and the two most highly rated answers were a gun that you're comfortable with and just go to the range and try out a bunch of guns. So I'm going to talk about the factors that make a gun comfortable for a new shooter and things that you might notice if you went to the range while comparing the 380 Easy to some of the other options that I have in front of me. So just so you know, this one goes for about $300 to $350. So I did find this one for $300 at a local gun shop, so $320 after tax. Here I have a Bersa Thunder 380 Plus. I picked this one up from a private seller for $225. This CZ P10F I got, so you can get the standard version of this for about $450. But I went for an optics ready model that lets you mount this, and so this was $560 for me. Over here, a Glock 19, a standard one, would run you about $500. And this is a SIG P365, and this was $500. So the first factor I think that would make a gun comfortable for a new shooter is that it's simple to use, and it doesn't really get any more simple than a semi-automatic handgun, because all you do is you insert your magazine, you hit the slide release, and you're ready to go. At this point, pulling the trigger would fire this gun. If you think about the two hardest things to do with an average gun, those are loading the magazine itself and racking the slide. And this is a 380 Shield Easy magazine, and it's really a non-issue because it comes with two tabs on each side that you can pull down with your fingers, and then you're basically just placing the round in there. And as you can see, it really can't get any easier than that. And so the second thing would be racking the slide. And I'll show you, you can literally rack the slide with one finger. Oh, sorry. I can't even dream of doing that with this Bersa Thunder 380 Plus. Even with two fingers, I cannot get that to rack. And I definitely can't do that with this or any of the other guns here. The 380 Easy also has these small wings on the slide in case you like to slingshot it. Or this is incredibly easy to do with your supporting hand thumb. You could push down with this. I can even do it with my pinky, but obviously that works. And just to compare with the Bersa does have a normal double stack magazine where you would have to put it in front of the feed lips, press down with your thumb, and then push down on the other case, and there you can get those in. Not too bad, but not as easy as this, obviously. Factor 3 is light and comfortable recoil. So soft recoil not only makes a gun more fun to shoot, but it also lets you focus on the fundamentals of operating a handgun, like trigger control and keeping your sights aligned. And the major factor that makes this recoil so soft is that it shoots a 380 round. As you can see, the 380 round in my left hand is the same diameter as a 9mm round, but it's less powerful, so it's kind of like the little brother. And another factor that makes the recoil so soft in this gun is that it's actually one of the larger 380s that you can get. And if you keep everything else equal, a larger gun will have softer recoil because there's more mass to absorb the force of the shot. So the 380 Easy is the lightest recoiling gun I have shot, and that I would also use for self-defense. The Bersa Thunder is not far behind, but a personal issue for me at least is that when it recoils, you can see this beaver tail is made pretty flat, and when it recoils after a few rounds, I'll start to notice it hitting my knuckle, and then shooting a lot more will actually start to cause some pain in my knuckle because the gun is recoiling backward into my thumb like that. Factor 4 is a good trigger. A smooth trigger will help you keep your sights on target. The trigger in the 380 Easy operates like a standard striker fired gun, which means that the weight will be the same every time you pull the trigger. And in this case, it's about 5 pounds every time you're pulling the trigger. This Bersa Thunder, on the other hand, is double action, single action, which means that on the first trigger pull, it will be a heavy 7-pound trigger pull. And then after the gun cycles, and you have your hammer back and let it reset, the second pull is actually about 4 pounds. So you'll have to get used to that transition. And like I said, the pull on a 380 Easy is about 5 pounds. Factor 5 is that it has intuitive sights that just make sense, and the Easy has that, has 3-dot sights. The Bersa Thunder, on the other hand, has a weird setup where these rear sights are really tiny, and when you line up the sights, you're actually covering a small portion of the front sight. Factor 6 is that the 380 Easy has a rail system, and so that lets you mount a light, laser, or a combo like I have. A light in case you're in the dark, and a laser lets you aim the gun without using the sights or without having to close one eye, which a lot of people have to do when they're first learning. So I zeroed this for 7 yards, and it's dead on at 7 yards, and all my friends that I've let try loved it. Another advantage of a laser is that you can easily track where the gun is pointing as you're pulling the trigger, so you can make sure that your trigger finger is pulling smoothly. I want to try and show you the laser, but the laser is on. It's a green one that's at the center of the brightness, like about here. I can make it light only, so this is light only, or laser only. So there you can see the laser. I like to have it with the light and the laser together. So the Bersa Thunder 380 Plus doesn't have a rail, so you actually can't mount a light to it, but you can find a laser that will like click onto here, I guess. I don't have one, and probably not planning on getting one for this. Factor 7 is that you want your gun to have a good grip angle that helps you point the gun naturally whenever you grab it. So when you grab this, you want your finger pretty much to line up with the barrel, and so that when you go to point and then you look down the sights, that it's actually pointing where you want it to. Usually this isn't even an issue because most guns they make so that they have a natural grip angle. The only popular exception is a Glock. So all of these, so this M&P, this Bersa, the CZ, and the SIG, they all have a really natural grip angle. But I'll show you on this Glock. This Glock has a big hump right here. So whenever you grab it, your finger is actually more pointing downward. And so when you go to point it, so let me see, you can't really tell from the video, but whenever you point it, I'll show you, it ends up looking like this, and you have to think about pointing the gun downward to line up your sights. One final nice touch for any gun to have really is the top of the slide loaded chamber indicator. So as you can see right now, the top of this slide is completely flat, but if I load, if I load into the chamber, you can see that there's a piece of metal now sticking up, and that's telling me that there is a round in the chamber. So that's nice because I don't even have to look at it. I can just feel it, and I know that my gun is loaded. So in all, the 380 Easy is a great gun, but there are a few things that I wish I could change. It only holds a single stack magazine, which means that all the rounds are lined up straight, and so this one only holds 8 rounds. The Bersa, on the other hand, they give you a double stack magazine, or the gun is made to accept a double stack, and so this magazine actually holds 15 rounds. And every round is an opportunity to save your life or someone you care about. We've all seen in the movies where the guy needs one more round, but he ran out, and so he ends up dying, right? Another minor issue I have with the 380 Easy is that it comes with a grip safety. And so this is essentially a big button that has to be pushed down in order for the trigger to work. If you grip the gun firmly, it will push down the grip safety. But if you're shooting soft, say for like long range shooting, you don't want to grip the gun tight or else it's going to make it shake a bit. So when I do grip it soft, sometimes I have noticed that I'm actually not pushing down the grip safety enough for the trigger to work. So that was an easy fix. I just put some gaffer tape on here, and it's been holding it down ever since I put it on, and I've been shooting this for about 500 rounds. So that actually brings up reliability, which I kind of skipped over because you should never have or keep a gun that you find isn't reliable. This one has been shooting perfectly for me for about 500 rounds using this Remington UMC 380 Auto Ranger Bucket ammo. Even though it's been working for me, you should always take the gun that you got and the ammo that you're going to use and put at least a couple boxes through it to make sure that your gun is functioning perfectly if you're planning to use it for self-defense. So one final note on the 380 Shield Easy is that they do sell a version that has a thumb safety switch located about here, but I would recommend a version without it because I've watched a lot of experienced shooters just shooting at the range and they forget to remove the safety. So can you imagine in a high stress situation you're even more likely to forget? And I've actually seen a video where a good guy actually got killed because he forgot to turn off the safety before he pointed his gun at the guy who also had a gun. So like I said before, if you don't need the softest, easiest gun to handle, then I would get something like this, a CZ P10F. The F stands for full size, and the reason you would want to go with something like this instead is that the 9mm cartridges are more powerful. The ammo is actually a bit cheaper. A box of 100 9mm cost me $20, and this bucket of 380 cost me $70, so that comes out to about $23 for 100 rounds. And finally, the magazines are bigger, so I actually have it over here. This one comes with 2 of these 19 round magazines, and it fits flush with the gun, as you can see. And the reason that I would go with a CZ P10F or even a CZ P10 compact is that it basically ties or beats a Glock 19 in all of the factors that I mentioned before. The most important one to me is actually the grip angle. As I said, Glock likes to put these humps at the back of the strap so that it forces the barrel to point more upwards than any other gun that you'll handle. This one is very comfortable, simple to use, so they're the same in that aspect. Easier to manipulate, so as you can see, this one has forward and backward slide serrations that are deeper than the Glock 19s, so you'll never like slip on these. And actually a Gen 5 Glock is a bit more slippery than a Gen 4, I think. And of course the full size will have a lighter recoil than a Glock 19 just because it's bigger. Glock does have a larger model of the Glock 19 called the Glock 17 or G17 that has a 4.5-inch barrel to match what the CZ P10F has. And it has a longer grip to accommodate a 17 round magazine. But like I said, the CZ P10F has a 19 round magazine. The CZ is also made to let you get a very high grip on the gun, and the higher grip that you get, the more control you have under recoil. This is also called a gun having a low bore axis. The CZ P10F comes with a better trigger. This one is about 4.5 pounds, I think it was, so I can show you real quick. So that was about 4 3/4, and I'll go ahead and show you the pull for the Glock. So this is obviously a custom design, but it's a stock Glock trigger. That one came out to 7 1/4 pounds. So a standard CZ P10F without the optics ready cut in the slide comes with normal 3-dot sights. This one, on the other hand, the optics ready, will come with a tritium night sight in the front and a blacked out rear sight. The tritium allows you to see the sight even if the room is completely dark. Also, the sights on the CZ P10F are made of metal, while the ones on the Glock are going to be made of polymer. Sorry I can't show you the sight picture because I have a Trijicon SRO on there, so you can see that little red dot that you use to aim instead. Another nice thing about the CZ grip is that it's smoothly contoured here, so that it's very comfortable. As you can see, they rounded this out. But on a Glock, I've heard of people getting Glock knuckle because this whole thing is flat all the way through. And so after a lot of shooting, you get to have this rubbing on your finger. And finally, the accessory rail on the CZ uses standard Picatinny width slots in it, and it actually has two. But the Glock 19 uses a Glock proprietary width slot, and so this one is more standard than the Glock is. One thing you won't notice between the CZ and the Glock unless you take them apart are that the CZ on the left has a bit deeper rifling than the Glock, and it's a bit beefier, so you can see the size difference between the feed ramps there. So you guys might have noticed I forgot to say anything about the SIG, but really I just brought it out to when I was going to make the point that this gun out of all of these actually has the most recoil just because it's the smallest, and so it has the least amount of mass to fight back recoil when you're shooting. Alright guys, I hope that helped. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be making more videos, of course. Especially I think I'll make like a full breakdown on this gun that I just got most recently, or about my carry piece, the SIG P365. Talk to you guys later.